What another incredible episode we just got. And I want to take a moment and really harp on this show's ability to do everything great, excellent even. A lot of shows will say, oh, it's about the story, which, yeah, of course it is. That's what I'm here for. It's about the acting. Well, yeah, that definitely helps drive the story along as if it's believable. It's about the cinematography and the shots and the directing and yeah, of course, all of those things are important. But here in Severance is one of the rare shows in which it's almost criminal to say master of none. But really they master everything. But everything is so good, so top-notch, so excellent that it almost seems like they excel nowhere, which is not the case because incredible show. For instance, several episodes ago, we saw Irving's character development. We saw an entire episode carried by him, and we get to see him from start to finish, more or less. It's all about him, and I'm glad that this show hasn't shied away from quote-unquote side characters being the main character, being able to carry an entire episode. We saw several episodes ago where there were multiple shots. One that comes to mind is the Heli R shot. Well, I guess it would be Helena then, was walking across the wide open, the glass front of the Lumon building. And we see the camera kind of pan out. And it's like, wow, that's an incredible shot. And if that's not your thing, that's fine. But I'm sitting here like, wow, like that shot definitely took some time to set up and was very intentional. And I remember a few shots in that episode that I was like, wow, like this is top tier shooting right here. This is top tier cinematography. And now we're seeing the character development side, the writing portion, but it comes through in the acting. So, I mean, hats off to Patricia Arquette here. I mean, round of applause. Give her flowers. She put this episode on her back and carried it to the finish line. Not dragged it. She didn't drag it to the finish line. It wasn't something that felt forced or awkward. It wasn't weird. No part of the show was I like, except, and I'll get there in a little bit. There was one I was like, really? Like, we had to go there. But again, there wasn't a part where it felt like, oh, this is just going on forever. We really got to see the internal struggle here. It's almost as if, and not to get ahead of myself, but it's almost as if she does have an innie and an outie. Even though she's not severed, and that's touched on multiple times, even though she's not severed, it's almost as if she's having that internal fight between her innie and outie. Unfortunately, fortunately for us, we know it's the same person, that there's not a different consciousness there, that it is Cobel fighting Cobel. It is person versus person. It's almost like with the other ones, it's like person versus person versus person. It's two different innies fighting against two different. But here, it's almost as if Cobel and Selvig are two different people, even though we know they're not. It's a pseudonym. It's a fake name, or it could be a real name. Who knows? But who knows what they've got in store for that. But my point is that you see the struggle between the two characters here. And while, yes, they are the same person, you see the the bootlicking company woman, like Lumon is the way. No one is greater than Lumon. Lumon through and through. Harmony Cobel. And on the other hand, you see the out Mrs. Selvig, the make cookies with the essential oils internal struggle. Because I mean, we see it right away. The great shot by the way of them, driving through the mountain in her, again, the white rabbit. Love the Volkswagen Rabbit. And we see that she's ended up at Salt Neck here. And I find that interesting because it's almost like out of sight, out of mind. We forgot about Cobel. It's like, hey, where's Cobel at? She's like really supposed to be a part of this thing. Last time we saw her, she was kind of freaking out, and we see her hit the road, and she's got the oxygen tube next to her, and we're like, Is she going to see somebody? Anyway, we see that really great opening shot of her driving through Salt's Neck, and I really love the nod, the Wes Anderson nod when she pulls up to the cafe. Everything's pretty symmetrical. It's in the middle of the shot, and I appreciate that as a big Wes Anderson fan. I appreciate the symmetry here in the cafe. And she walks in the cafe, and I think her line here is really interesting. She's talking about, wow, it's aged in here. It looks different. It's like, well, duh. You've been gone for how, I'm sure it's been a long period of time, 5, 10, 15 years, 20 years, possibly, that she hasn't been here. It's like, of course it looks old. Of course it looks dated. But I think there's an undertone here of it looks as if the world has progressed while this town has more or less been left behind. It's like, yeah, of course it looks dated. It looks old. You're living in modern Lumon territory. Everything is state of the art. And then you come back to Salt's Neck and it's like, well, yeah, everything looks old. It looks dated because it is. But not more than that, it's been drained of so many resources. It's been drained of people. It's been drained of time that it looks old. It looks dated. It looks run down. It looks worn out. And so I think it's really important there for her to make that connection right away. And there's a lot of tension in the room when she walks in. We see her interact with the waiter as if she knows him, and he's like, I have no idea who this is. Obviously, we find out that he indeed does. We assume it to be her brother, but I mean, there are some things later on that lead to it not being her brother. I don't know. We'll get there. I love the introduction to Sissy, who we find out her name later, which again, Sissy could be her sister, could be, anyway, I'm not gonna, we don't have enough information. I'm assuming it was a caregiver of hers. It could have been a sister, someone that she grew up with. They talk about, your mother was a coward. And it's like, well, if they were sisters, wouldn't she just say our mother? But has she renounced her? Again, I don't know. Not enough information right now to really know. I'm assuming they're connected somehow. Obviously, they're personally connected. We know that. We can feel the tension there. I love the shot when she finally she's looking for something, and we're not really sure what she's looking for. And she's like, where is the key? Where's the key? She's freaking out about this key. And she finally, she finds it. I always find it interesting, her need to narrate what she's doing. And we've seen this a couple of times where Cobel I found it. It's like, well, if you found something that someone was trying to hide from you, why would you tell them? It's almost like she likes them knowing that she is kind of going against the system. And she finds the key. I love the shot of her seeing the picture of herself on the top shelf there. I think it's so eerie. It's such a cool shot because we're sitting here watching this aged woman. She's not just aged physically. She's just aged in the eyes. She looks tired. She looks exhausted. She looks taken advantage of. Like she's just been, again, we see it with the town. It's like, it looks different. It looks aged. It's like, well, yeah, you're older, but we see she's like, the resources that have been taken from her, the time, the energy, the willpower, and it's just a lot. You can see it in her eyes here that she's hurting. And I think it's so cool that she's looking back into this photo of a little girl with so much Lumon love, and is having to come to grips with that she might have been done wrong, that she might have been cheated, that she might have been licking the boots of a company that's been taking advantage of her this entire time. And I'm glad we got to be there with her for that because, I mean, what a revelation, right? Like, wow. You've been fighting yourself this entire time. You were being a yes woman to things, and really they were only affecting you negatively in the long run. And we see the shot of her laying in, I'm assuming it's her mom's bed. And if anyone's been through this, like, obviously, you know where she's at here. I love the ability. I love that they show her face at first. They show her crying, and then it's almost like they give her a little bit of privacy. I love the story that's told here with. Yeah, you're gonna think I'm stupid. It's gonna sound stupid, but I love the privacy that they give her. It almost tells a little bit of a story here. It's like, yeah, we know she's beaten up. We know that she's broken. We know that she's dealing with some stuff right now. But we're gonna give her a moment. Like, we are gonna be here with her. But we're gonna give her a little bit of decency, a little bit of redeeming qualities here, and let her have her cry. But we're not gonna watch her do it. We're just gonna kind of be here, fly on the wall. And I think that's really important here, that the writers and directors are trying to show, like, we are on Cobel's side here. She's not the op. She's not the enemy. She's not the oppressor here. And I love how they do that because, we love to watch the villain fall. I mean, nothing is better. Spoiler alert. If you've not seen Avengers Endgame, click off now, right? But we love watching Thanos sit down and get snapped into dust. We love watching Green Goblin get run through on Spider-Man. And if you've not seen that, that's on you. That movie's like 30 years old at this point. We love watching the villain, the enemy, get their comeuppance. And I think it's really important that they told this side of the story, that we're on Cobel's side here. She's not the enemy. And so it's kind of a little nod that it's like, all right, well, the tides are changing. She kind of has that little heart to heart with her brother, or whoever he is. They work together. He's obviously some kind of drug. I'm assuming they said now it makes you want to go work 8 hours in the factory. I'm assuming it was some kind of drug that kept them pretty psyched up to work long shifts. Whatever it is, she is clearly not happy that he is peddling and pushing this stuff. But more than that, they share a kiss, which is weird, but I think it tells the story of the closeness of the two and what they mean to one another. I don't know if they're brother and sister. If not, if they are, it was still kind of but I mean, less but it was a lot of ick. It was a lot of ick here, but there's a lot of emotions going on. There's a lot of tension. There's a lot of things being thrown around here, and no one really knows what to do with it. So it almost, that's how it came out. It came out in love. It came out in a kiss. And it didn't look like they regretted it. It looked like that wasn't the first time that it happened, but I'm not really interested in any of that. I don't come here for that. I come here for everything else. So she kind of has this thought of like, well, I know where everything's at. And I realize I'm skipping over a lot of stuff here, but there was a lot of filler in this show, in this episode. And I mean filler in the fact that it was like, all right, like let's get there. Let's find whatever it is that you said you were going to find, because we know you're going to find it. She finds a yearbook, honors and awards, valedictorian, Harmony Cobel. The irony of her name being Harmony, I think obviously, again, undertones here, or, even overtones, like it's in your face, it's on the nose. But I love that her name is Harmony. Valedictorian, and I could only read a little bit of it. I didn't really know exactly what all of it said, but for what it looked like, they were gassing her pretty hard. They were giving her a pretty good amount of accolades. Then we only see it for a very short second, and I'll put it up on the screen. We see it for a split second. I actually had to go back. I had to go back multiple times to get this and it not be blurry. But it says James Eagan Wintertide Fellowship. Harmony Cobel Wintertide Fellow. And this is the same Wintertide that we are hearing about from the milkshake replacement, right? Mrs. Wong, where he's like, you've not been, cleared for boarding, for landing yet, And I think it's important because it's giving the nod to the past of how she was groomed more or less, to be a Lumen employee from the jump. And we see that again with Mrs. Wong, the grooming that's going on, the boot licking that is going on with these company men, these company women. So I think it was really cool that she was a Wintertide Fellowship winner member or whatever. She's dusting off the James Eagan Wintertide Fellowship Harmony Cobel, and she realizes that her mother had kept what it was that I'm assuming she either entrusted it to her or she found it later or whatever the case may be. She finds a notebook, and there are a lot of really cool sketches in here. I will throw them up on the screen as I go, but man, there's some really cool stuff in there, and she has an absolute meltdown, a conniption when she comes back in the house. Not for nothing, but Sissy kind of said some things that it was like, ooh, somebody's about to get smacked, right? Because it's not often that you can say some crazy out of pocket stuff like that and not get smacked for it, right? I mean, you gotta you say crazy stuff, somebody's gonna snap eventually, and it looks like she does have a little bit through. Cobel says, "Oh well, if they come looking for me, if they come asking, I was never here." And Sissy's response is, "I would never bear falsity to a steward of the Eagans." And it's like, ooh, chills, right? Like, this is your sister, question mark. This is your niece, question mark. This is whoever it may be. And you're going to dime them out. You're going to narc. You're going to be the one to turn them in. And again, it goes back to the bootlicking, the company, the yes. It's all about the company, Lumen through and through. And we thought, I mean, at first it was like, well, Cobel is like the Luminist of all Lumens. Like there is no one that loves Lumen more than her. I mean, we saw that in her basement, just the weird altar shrine that she built. Like you didn't think it got better than her. And then you realize it's like, wow, like she's kind of like the short straw here. She's the, she's she's pretty light on the Lumen love. I would never bear falsity to a steward of the Eagans. It's like, ugh. And then Cobel responds, Lumen destroyed this town. Yeah, I mean, of course they did. I mean, it looks atrocious. I mean, look at the state in which you're living in. You owe them no loyalty. Again, we see she's talking to herself here. We're seeing the Audi Cobel Selvig internal struggle here. The Cobel love Lumen, Lumen ride or die, and the Selvig, you owe them nothing. What a cool ride. What a cool journey to go on with her on. Like, what a great journey to go with her on. And we get a little bit of peek at the designs and the notebook and things like that. And at one point, she's talking, my designs, circuit blueprints, overtime contingency, which we've heard, Glasgow block, which is what they use to, have Heli R and Helena in the same, Nabi. And then we hear Sissy hit us with, James Eagan was the inventor. And then Cobel, it's like, well, so I've heard. It's like, well, that's all she's heard since Jump is like, James Eagan invented this and Severance. And that's why she's so interested in reintegration, because it's her designs. It's her brainchild, and it looks like she's gotten no credit for it. Looks like they've pretty much backburnered her on this entire thing. Like when you're sitting in one of those corporate office meetings and it's like, you come up with this all world idea, and it's like, oh, hey, we should do the toilet paper over instead of under. And then everyone's like, no, no, that's a dumb idea. And then like the biggest wig in the room goes, hey, what if we like did the toilet paper over instead of under? And everyone's like, yeah, let's go with that guy's idea. That's kind of how it feels here. It's like she's getting the short end of the stick. She had a great idea and no one's acknowledged that it was her idea. She either didn't get credit for it, or we hear that she was told that if she were to take credit for it, she would more or less be ixnayed. She would be, pushed out. I was told Kier's knowledge is for all, that if I sought credit, I would be banished. And it's like, the Lumon lady, that's what I should call it. The Lumon lady, Cobel, if she was told, she's going to listen. We see Sissy try to throw it in the fire, and I thought, I was like, my heart dropped. I was like, it's going to get burnt. Like, this is over with. It's done. This notebook's donezo. It's over. Luckily, that's not what happened. And then we see Sissy with the slappable quote, your mother was a coward. It's like, oof, might be a little too soon there, sis. Filled with malice and resentment. We see her talking about the look in her mother's eyes. She said that she didn't take the feeding tube out, that her mother did it, more or less saying that she was ready to go. And we see her say the look in her eyes was filled with malice and resentment. It's like, well, to what? To whom? To where? Why? For the way that they've treated Harmony? For the way that her life ended up? Like, I feel like we'll get a lot more questions here, hopefully soon. Then we get the shot. We hear her brother or whoever he is screaming outside. They're coming. The cavalry's coming. One if by land, two if by sea. He's alerting her, letting her know. And she says Hampton again. I may have missed something, but I don't know if that's a code word or a keyword, or I don't know. But his name, I don't know. I love the exchange between Devin and Cobel. The most important part of this whole episode to me in the character development here, she didn't call her Harmony Cobel. She answers the phone and she says, Mrs. Selvig. Which again, I'm harping on this a lot, but I think it's so important here. The struggle, the any outie struggle, even though she's not severed, the any outie struggle that Cobel and Selvig are having. Good versus evil. Lumon versus reintegration. What is going on? And I think it's so cool. And I know it was purposeful. That she called her, that Devin called her Mrs. Selvig. Because it lets us again know, the audience, that we're on Mrs. Selvig. We like Mrs. Selvig, even though she was weird and creepy and did, creepy stuff. We like Mrs. Selvig better than we do Harmony Cobel. It lets us know that right now, she's not the enemy. And again, that again, she only knows her as Selvig, and I get that. But I think it's too on the nose to not be important here. She calls her Mrs. Selvig. She's like, what is going on? I've been trying to reach you, and let me talk to Mark. And then you hear Mark hit him with the hello. And we see her come around the corner as quickly as she entered. She's gone. And I cannot wait for the last 2 episodes of this show. There are a few things that I'm hoping get wrapped up. One, I would really like to know, we assume right now, and we've being hinted that Cobel, Selvig is on our side. Our side, the audience, we obviously are on the side of the truth. We don't really care who's the bad guy here. We just want to know who it is. Is it Helly? Is it Helena? Is it the Eagans? Is it Lumon? Who is the bad guy here? And obviously it's Lumon and the underlying whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish with holding people prisoners on the testing floors and things like that. And I just think I would really like a lot of answers to what's coming next here for Lumon. What's coming next here for Selvig? Is Mark okay? Where does Ragavi play into all this? I would really love to see Ragavi and Selvig duke it out. And I think that's coming. I think it's going to be necessary to the story, because in order to realize how messed up and what they can do to right the wrong, not necessarily reintegration, but find out how far Ragavi pushed him, that Cobel and Ragavi are gonna have to interact. And I think that is gonna be a dog fight. And I'm here for it. I'm here for the dog fight. If you know me, and none of you will, and it's fine, I'm all about the controversy. I'm about that action. I want all the smoke. So whenever characters are here for that, I'm here for that. Like, I'm ready for it. So I'm ready for the dogfight between Cobel and Ragavi. I would also really love to. It's super side story, but the Bert G storyline with his boy and Dylan and his wife. I think those will be really interesting wrap ups to the season. I'm not ready to make a call on where we end the season yet. I think I want to see. Obviously, I want to see episode 9 and 10, and I'll probably have a little bit better of a prediction based on how episode 9 goes. But I really don't know if we're gonna get all the answers that we want. And I've been watching a lot of shows like that recently, so I'm not holding my breath. I mean, they want us to keep watching. They want us to keep talking about it. So, I mean, I get it. But at some point, I need answers. On my Frumily stand up. Like, I need answers. I need to know what's going on. You gotta give me something. And I feel like this was a lot of something. So I'm really excited. Hang in there. Don't give up hope. If your questions weren't answered, I'm not gonna promise you, but I'm gonna say, hey, like, help is on the way with this one. Like, we're in it together. Answers, no answers, right or wrong, death to Lumon or not, we're here for the long ride. Y'all have a good week and stay safe out there. Love you.